Hi, I am Kevin Smith of Beast and Cleaver. Today we're going to cook the London Royale, otherwise known as the London Broil, which is possibly the worst steak on the entire animal. It doesn't exist as a steak in London, and it should never be broiled. It needs to be cooked really high, really fast, and served extremely rare. It should not be overcooked, otherwise it will be horrible. So I'm going to change your opinion on this amazing steak, show you how we cook it at Beast and Cleaver. Going to go into the top round now, the London Broil stroke, aka we changed it to London Royale because essentially this is one of the steaks that gets cut into big fat steaks and broiled and it tastes horrible. So we completely changed that technique. We cut it into small little steaks and treat it like a really, really rare and making it like a hot carpaccio almost. So what we have here is the muscle that comes off the back leg. If you imagine that big teardrop muscle, it's essentially that. It's got some other muscles that live on top here, which I'm going to start taking off now. We've got this little top round cap, which is also known as the Santa Fe. It's kind of like a little skirt steak. Amazing little muscle. There's a couple of other steaks on here too. This is one of the ones that you don't have to be super precise with. A lot of this is going to get trimmed up and going into sausage, into jerky, into burgers. So I'm just peeling this cap off up here. You can see where it comes. This is a good steak. It's like a skirt steak. There's a little bit more chew to it. So definitely one for marinating. And this is going to take us down to a couple of other little steaks up here. The little Le Poire and a Milan. Really small little steaks, but also really nice. So these little small steaks down here, you won't find them in any supermarket. You will find them in any whole animal butcher shop that's breaking things down similar to us. Really, really tender little steaks on here. And again, for us, it just goes into like the artisanalness of it. So we have our top round cap. We have our Le Poire, which is this round steak, and underneath it over here we got a steak that looks like a Terrace Major, but it's called the Milan. So we'll pull these off real quick. They don't take long. The Le Poire eats amazing. It's like a cross between a tenderloin and a Terrace Major. We're going to come in here now and start trimming up the Milan, which runs up here. You can see it's this long muscle separated by this fat. Generally, anywhere there's a big chunk of fat like that, it's like there's a separation of muscle, so it makes your job a little bit easier. We'll take this guy off. This gets trimmed up, and this gets trimmed up further, and this is also going to get trimmed up. I'm going to get our knife under, and I'm being generous with the amount of meat I'm taking off here, mainly because we need a lot of stuff for sausages, we need stuff for burgers. And also, this is a slightly harder steak for us to sell because not many people know about it. The people who do know about it love it. So this one, really open grain structure. You can see why it looks like a skirt steak. And trim here. Again, none of this stuff on the back leg is wasteful. Coming under here, taking this sinewy skin off, getting in, knife is pointing up. I don't want to lose too much meat, but I do want to make this steak into the most tender part of it that I can. So getting down, and you know it's a little oxidized here. This is good for sausage. So here's the really cool little steak, the Santa Fe, or top round cap. For the case, we'll square it. Amazing little steak. You can roll it up. Fantastic little steak. And we'll go quickly into our Le Poire steak. Again, I'm not being too precious with how I'm cutting this because this is all going to go to sausage. I believe this would be the piriformis muscle, which is right in the hip. I know that because I injured mine. Taking off the fat on this one. This one is fantastic, grilled and or pan fried. It kind of plumps up. We usually tie it up in the shop, but you can see why it's like the pear steak. It kind of looks like a pear. And then this little one over here, everyone who knows about it loves it, the merlan. I believe it's called merlan after a type of French fish. I could be wrong, but that's the knowledge we have. So looks really similar to Teres major. Take this fat cap off on here. You can see that fat. Get underneath. This is about 7 to 8 ounces at most, this steak. But again, it's very, very tender. And this is a great steak for like one person who's not super hungry. We like to think of these as like midweek steaks, you know. This is certainly not in the trophy cut realm. So now we'll get into trimming this up. Typically, this steak from here is cut into big, thick chunks and put in the case and then broiled. Like broiled or grilled under a grill. It's really bad when you treat it like that. For me, it's one of the worst steaks available. So we definitely don't want our customers to eat it like that. We want to take all of this sinew off. So I am being generous with the way I'm cutting it, but we need, as a whole animal shop, we don't have access to ground beef. We have to create our own ground beef. So this is a great way to get where we're going with that. You can see the open grain structure on this. Really long fibers. On the inside here, there's more sinew. Just take it off. And I just want to emphasize, I'm not trying to be super precise with how I'm trimming this. We need trim for sausage. Down here, I'm going to start taking out this vein. Again, starting to get where I want to go with it now. It's starting to look like 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces that I'll cut into a long rectangle here. I'll show you what a normal London broil looks like. You essentially take this here and you cut it into a big fat steak like this. And it looks nice, but it eats terribly. It doesn't eat well at all. I'm just going to leave that there for example. This will go to sausage for us. So from here, I want to follow the grain structure coming down. And again, roughly here. And again, roughly over here. Okay, so we got our steaks portioned like halfway where we need to go from here. So this is the one, the classic one over here. Now, again, I'm going to start trimming the edges down here. And I'm going to start carving it into a cylindrical type shape. So it's almost looking like a eye of round here, only it's not the eye of round. So this is where we want to be. And the reason I'm cutting it this way is the grains are running this way. You can see the open grains running that way. This one I'm going to cut into 2. I'm going to come around. I'm going to square the ends. Again, sausage. Same on this one. Square. Square. Curve it just a little. And we can sell these so much easier than selling this. So although it might look wasteful, again, this is going towards all the good things. So from here, I'm just going to trim this one as well while I'm at it. We roughly aim for 4 to 6 ounce portions on these. So what I'll do is, now that we have this lovely steak, we'll just portion it. I'll show you what these look like from here. They look like little tenderloins at this point, which got me thinking we should treat them like a tenderloin. You cannot overcook this steak, it will be horrible. I mean, that literally looks like a tenderloin. It's got the same little marbling running through it. So we have these in the case pretty much all the time, and we do get people coming in asking, oh, can we grab a tenderloin? I think it's labelled wrong, and it's not. It's this. It's just the way we portion them out, you know. So that's pretty much how we portion them. You know, one of these is $12.99 a pound. That's 6 ounces. It's, I don't know, it's less than $10, and you can certainly get a good meal for one person, maybe even 2 if you're eating other stuff with that. So this is what we like to do with the back leg. We've got these lovely 3 little steaks over here. We've got these guys. We've got burger, which we'll add brisket to over here, and then we got our classic little Londons that we came up with, and we changed it from London Broil to London Royale because we felt like we turned one of the worst steaks into probably one of the best steaks, and certainly the cheapest steak on the whole animal. Wonderful little steaks here. I'm gonna season them up real quick while that's going in with a tallow. It kind of honors the animal, you know. We are taking the fat from the animal, rendering it down, and cooking the animal in that fat. So I want to make sure we're getting smoking hot pan here. See the smoke coming off. The pan is at about 450 degrees almost here, 440 over here. As we go in, gonna just crisp all around. This is not going to take very long at all. This is one I would suggest using tongs because it's high heat. So the reason we want to cook this very rare is it's like, if you think about tuna and that classic tuna tataki, how it's seared on the outside and raw on the middle, this is exactly why we want to do that. Because this is a very lean muscle that doesn't do a lot of work, it's going to be tough if we cook it past medium, even if we cook it past rare. So just turning it over. Very quick cook on this. One of the things that we get a lot with at the shop is it looks like a tenderloin. It looks like a filet. It's because it's circular. It can eat like a tenderloin too. And I'm just getting a little caramelization. This is not going to be like a ribeye or a porterhouse. I want to keep this as rare as I possibly can on the inside. Just turning it. See this? This is all I'm looking for. Let me go in with my butter. So turning it in the fat, in with the garlic, glazing, in with the rosemary, turn the pan off, take these out. So again, you see the colour on here? It looks even more like a tenderloin now. Steak is resting very briefly. Just cooking the garlic, taking it off the heat. I want to let those bubbles calm down here. These steaks are still hot. You can see if you was to put a thermometer in here, they'd be 60, 70 degrees on the internal temp. Again, the grain is running this way. So I want to cut long, thin slices with this. I don't want to leave it rest. It's going to finish its cooking in the pan. Cutting it super thin here. The thinner you can cut this, the better. This is what I'm talking about with tataki. It's seared on the outside, completely raw in the middle, and then the warm juices of the steak are going to finish the cooking. This is one that you want to serve quickly. We don't want it hanging out in the pan, overcooking it. These little end pieces, trim them and get your knife down. Just slicing it paper thin here. The pan has cooled down. I want to take them, drop them back in the pan. Take my spoon real quick. And that's it, out. From here, we're just going to plate this guy straight up. I like to have the best looking pieces around the outside. All these little pieces that are cut off the end are going to be in the middle. They're going to get hidden. Look at that piece there, that's perfect. So that's going to be like in the middle of the plate. I'll take our rosemary, break it off. Again, sprinkle. This stuff is so much flavor in here. Drizzle all of this. Get all the garlic, get everything over it, and then just finish it with some Maldon salt. This is the worst steak in the world turned into one of the best steaks in the world. Okay, so this is the iconic London Royale, which we serve at Beast and Cleaver. We feel really proud of this one. We took one of the worst steaks on the animal, the London Broil, turned it into something called the London Royale, which is served paper thin, very rare, covered in brown butter, garlic and rosemary. And having a little bit of bread on the side to dip in and get all those juices is exactly how we serve it at the shop. So yeah, I'm gonna go in, get one of these lovely little rare pieces.
Can I try one with you?
Yeah, get in. So I'm gonna get this, all that lovely buttery garlicky.
Oh my God. Oh,
Right?
holy cow.
Worst steak to the best steak.
So many cuts of meat really do need to be treated differently.
Yep.
It's tender because you cut it against grain. It's
Yep.
so juicy. The flavor is insane, dude.
Yeah, super good steak.
Wow.
And it's like 6 to 8 ounces on these two here. That's probably enough for 2 people, and it's going to cost like $9 to buy that. You know?
Yeah.
Way beefier than a tenderloin too.
Yeah, amazing flavor.
It's insane. The ROI on it's huge.
Yeah, it's cheap, it's easy.
Yeah.
You can't really mess it up as long as you cook it rare. Get a piece of bread and wrap it up in it. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So good.
Oh, that.
Could be my favorite steak.
Okay.
Oh,
See a
good.
steak sandwich.
Yeah.
Subscribe to our channel and visit chefsteps.com for more tips, recipes, guides, and tools to help you level up in the kitchen.